To dangle some help with Iran in exchange for some movement on the Taiwan issue. Accordingly, China's readout makes no mention of Iran. But the White House readout says President Xi also made clear China's opposition to militarization of the strait and any effort to charge a toll for its use.
Fox's Jackie Heinrich in Beijing. On Capitol Hill, continued concern about Iran's capabilities.
The commander of U.S. Central Command, Admiral Bradley Cooper, confirmed to Senate Armed Services Committee Chairman Roger Wicker that Iran had uranium enriched to 60%, for which there's no civilian purpose. Cooper said of Operation Epic Fury's success,
the defense industrial base for their drones and their missiles and their Navy were degraded by 90%. They have about 10% left.
Democratic Senator Richard Blumenthal asked if Iran retains up to 75% of its missile launch capability.
The numbers that I've seen in open source are not accurate.
When asked who is in charge in Iran, Cooper said Iran's Revolutionary Guard Corps is exercising significant authority.
Fox's Jessica Rosenthal. Fireworks at a House hearing on so-called sanctuary policies in Virginia and whether immigration consequences are considered in criminal cases.
I was hoping to come here to talk about my office policies, not be distracted by a campaign statement that was made a year before I was actually Commonwealth's attorney General. And had any cases that were mine.
Fairfax County Commonwealth Attorney Steve Toscano pushing back on House Judiciary Chairman Jim Jordan, but he did apologize to the mother of a woman killed by an illegal immigrant who had been released, despite a lengthy record. America is listening to Fox News.
Now, your official weather forecast.
This afternoon will bring mostly sunny skies with a high temperature of 68. Tonight, expect partly cloudy conditions with a chance of a couple of showers late as temperatures drop to a low of 52. Tomorrow, there may be a shower in some areas during the morning hours. Otherwise, it will be partly sunny and breezy with the high reaching 71. I'm meteorologist Jason Caterina on AM 560, The Answer.
Get the latest weather, traffic, and news updates online at 560theanswer.com. For over a decade, AM 560 has marked the start of summer with a night of cigar smoking and great conversation. And this year, we're proud to welcome the editor-in-chief of Breitbart News to Cigar Night. He's Alex Marlowe, and he'll join AM 560's Dan Proft and Sean Thompson on Tuesday, May 19th at Gobert's Farm in Pingree Grove for a night you won't forget. Tickets are on sale now at 560theanswer.com/cigar. That's 560theanswer.com/cigar. Sponsored by Firago, the immune enhancement cocktail.
Lots of places can expose you to identity theft, but that's why LifeLock monitors hundreds of millions of data points a second for threats to your identity, which is way more than anyone can do on their own. If they find anything suspicious, like new loans or changes in your financial accounts, they'll alert you right away, all through text, phone, email, or the LifeLock app. Get the alerts that can make all the difference. Save up to 40% off your first year with the promo code BECK. LifeLock.com, 800-LifeLock, 1-800-LifeLock, or LifeLock.com. Use the promo code BECK at LifeLock.com.
When disasters hit and cell networks fail, Rapid Radios keeps you connected. Instant push-to-talk with coast-to-coast range. No contracts, no monthly bills. Trusted by law enforcement, government agencies, and over 500,000 users. Always ready when your phone isn't. Because in an emergency, seconds matter, and reliability isn't optional. Go to rapidradios.com. Use code RADIO for 5% off and free shipping from Michigan. Rapid Radios. Communication redefined.
Patrick was way behind on his IRS taxes.
I was in way over my head. The total amount ended up being somewhere just over $30,000. $30,000.
Then the IRS came to collect.
Started getting letter after letter. A lien had been filed against me. They were going to basically hang me completely out to dry.
He had to do something.
That's when I reached out to Optima Tax Relief.
Patrick's life quickly got a lot easier.
It was very easy, pretty much hands off. They picked up the ball and ran with it.
And how'd it go?
I couldn't believe it. I had to ask 2 or 3 times. I saved an incredible amount of money.
How does Patrick feel about Optima?
Couldn't be happier. They definitely helped me. Optima Tax Relief, the best place to call. They're the best in the business.
Do what Patrick did and call Optima Tax Relief for a free consultation. Call 800-965-1433. 800-965-1433. 800-965-1433.
Optima Tax Relief. testimonial from an actual client. Some restrictions apply. For complete details, please visit OptimaTaxRelief.com.
Picture warm Gulf breezes, turquoise waters, white sand beaches. Now, add evenings of conversation with Salem Media's Mike Gallagher, Scott Jennings, Larry O'Connor, and Jennifer Horn. This November, sail from Fort Lauderdale to the Bahamas, Jamaica, the Cayman Islands, and Mexico on a 7-day journey built for those who love this country. Book your cabin today when you text the word cruise to 94878. Celebrate America's 250th anniversary the right way on the Gulf of America Cruise. Book your cabin now. Text the word cruise to 94878.
I'm alpine skier Michaela Schifrin. I've won the most World Cup ski races in history. But what does success mean to me? Success means discipline. It's teamwork. It's the drive and passion inside of us, and it's why Stifel is one of the fastest growing global wealth management firms in the country. If you're looking for success, surround yourself with the people who will get you there. If you're an advisor or investor, choose Stifel, where success meets success.
Stifel Nicholas and Company Incorporated. Member SIPC and NYSE.
Past performance is no indication of future results. Investing involves risk. Consult a financial advisor before making any investment decisions.
This hourly segment is brought to you by Wealth Health Radio with Joe Murphy. Sundays, noon to 1. Learn more online at mwmfinancial.tax.
Portions of the following show may be pre-recorded.
The following live program is sponsored by Breakthrough Ideas.
AM 560, The Answer. It's time for breaking news, expert insight, and informed commentary on what's happening in Springfield, Chicago, and beyond. Because an informed citizenry is the only way to protect our republic. It's time for The Real Story with Jeannie Ives and Amy Jacobson.
All right, welcome back. Listen, we are about Chicago and Springfield and beyond, and today we're working on the beyond. We're talking with Mark Glennon. He's with us right now, and he's calling in from Poland after having spent a week in the Ukraine. And Mark, you know what? We're usually used to you talking about pensions and property taxes and school stuff, but you're over in Ukraine. Tell us about that trip and why you made it.
Yeah, well, thanks for taking this topic up. And, you know, we do have 200,000 Ukrainians in the Chicago area, including 30,000 refugees from this war. It's a topic I took a great interest in since the war started 4 years ago. I am very sympathetic to the Ukrainians and just in awe of their bravery, their skill, their ingenuity in now turning things around against Russia. Russia is close to being on the ropes in this. And I wanted to see for myself, talk to ordinary people, what the facts are, try to sort through some of the propaganda. Propaganda is common from both sides in any war. And ask them what things they are most in need of with a view towards trying to find some way, and at least a small way, to lend a hand, which many Americans are doing. So that was the purpose of the trip, and I spent a week there, and you have to go in by train, so that's why I'm back in Poland, and we'll be coming home to Chicago tomorrow. Okay, and so how close to the front lines were you able to get to, if at all? Not close at all. Okay. No, I was in the west, in Lviv, which is very safe, although I actually was struck by a major drone attack by the Russians just today, and it was just brutal. One of their largest assaults, of course, they target civilian targets, flattened an apartment building. It's disgusting. Were you able to feel like there was some normalcy in the part of the country that you were in, or is everybody on a war footing? Both. It's they are committed to keeping the economy going, and life looked normal for the most part in Lviv and in western Ukraine. I drove around on the countryside as well, and Lviv is a beautiful, classic European city. Kids going to school, people going to work. A lot of people going through, again, those Americans that come to visit, and many others, not just Americans, people from all over the world. So, yeah, it looked quite normal in western Ukraine. Of course, it's a horrid situation for people in the east that are near the front. I imagine almost everybody has a war story or somebody who has been affected by it. Were you... I mean, I don't know if language was a barrier or not, but what are they telling you about some of the horrific things that they've seen? Well, virtually everybody knows somebody that has been killed, has family members. One of the traditions there is that when there's a funeral, they play music outdoors. And if you walk around in the city, as I did, you will stumble on these. And the tradition is to stop dead in your tracks and honor the funeral. And I came upon one of those in the course of it. Every morning at 9 o'clock, too, the entire country stops, and it's really moving. The traffic, buses, people, everything freeze, and they honor a moment of silence for the dead.
Well, this voice belongs to Mark Glennon. He's joining us from Ukraine. You're going to be flying home tomorrow. Do you know what the real casualty numbers are on both sides, not only Ukraine but also Russia?
Russia, we know very precisely because Ukraine reports those with visual evidence, things they take from these drones, which are everywhere, which are cross-checked like crazy by all kinds of open source intelligence people on both sides. 1.3 million Russian casualties. 500,000 of those dead. For a little perspective, that's more than America lost in World War II, Europe and the Pacific. Ukraine does not release their numbers, but military analysts look at it, and the highest number, the credible estimate that I've seen, is about 200,000 dead Ukrainians. We know for sure that includes 15,000 civilians. Other averages are closer to 150,000. And that discrepancy isn't surprising. Jeannie, with your West Point background, you could probably confirm that the side on defense normally suffers far lower casualties than the attacker. And that has been the strategy of the Ukrainians, is to hold their ground, even give up a little ground often for the sake of slaughtering the meat wave. And that's the Russian tactics are meat wave. That's another part of the problem for the Russians. And they just get mowed down by drones. 90% of the casualties inflicted today are drones. And this is a whole new type of warfare. The Ukrainians were telling America, you better pay attention to this. I was watching those videos of them saying that 3 years ago. America, frankly, kind of ignored. The Ukrainians offered a joint venture agreement to develop drone technology 12 months ago. America ignored it. We're paying the price for it now in the Middle East, of course, with inability to defend against these things. But just last week, America finally did sign that joint venture, so hopefully things will improve.
Yeah, no, from a military standpoint, just the advent of any sort of technical improvement, it makes a huge difference, whether it's the Browning machine gun or whether it's tanks in World War I. In this case, you've got Ukraine and the Russia not really doing much with air superiority. So at the beginning of the war, it seemed like we were going back to a very conventional war with tanks and armored vehicles and that sort. And then this drone technology has completely changed what's happening on the ground. And so we're at another inflection point when it comes to military strategy as to what do you do now to defend against drones. And also, I think drones that are on the ground that are creeping in and instead of like having a minefield, you can have a walking minefield. It appears.
Oh yeah, and that's saving lives for the Ukrainians. They actually the first battle fought entirely autonomously with a Ukrainian ground drone unit. Got in a firefight with a Russian unit and defeated them. And they use them for rescuing casualties out on the field, bringing in supplies and all kinds of things. And that's another reason for keeping their casualties down, because they do have a manpower challenge. I mean, if that and the Russian deep strikes like they've been launching at civilian targets are the two big problems that the Ukrainians have. So they manage manpower very carefully.
Amy, did you have anything more? Well, I also wanted to bring this up. You did put out a Substack. You sent us a Substack on a particular individual who is helping out in Ukraine, and he's basically providing them civilian cars trucks and SUVs to help them. And he's a former West Pointer, as a matter of fact, Preston Stewart, bright young veteran West Point graduate. And he's got 1 million followers. And apparently he's got Car for Ukraine, and they're delivering simple unarmored vehicles to Ukrainian fighting units and helping them helping win the battle that way on a very personal, very private level of American involvement.
That's something to really be proud of, how Americans have been, and people around the world have stepped up individually to do this. America, as a country, does not provide any military aid to Ukraine. That ended 15 months ago, or humanitarian aid. But there are many different groups providing all kinds of aid, charities with medical help, a lot of American retired military people over there teaching classes, NGOs. There are good NGOs, by the way, that are not government funded. Lots of NGOs over there, and you can't help but meet those people. As you go across the border or something, a woman from Lake Forest and her husband had their own same thing. She was staying in Lviv, but I met her at the train station where it's safe, but her husband was driving a car that they were donating out to the front. Very, very, very brave, and they're very appreciative of all those kinds of efforts.
Well, Mark Glennon, I want to thank you so much for taking a little bit of time here and telling us about what you have found out in Ukraine, and we appreciate your efforts there, and we'll be talking more about this, I'm sure, and about pensions and everything else. So thanks a lot for coming on, Mark.
Yeah, and I'm putting some articles up on Substack. I'll be doing more about what I saw, and that's the place to find it, is Substack Mark Glennon. So thank you very much. All
right, thank you. And coming up after the break, we have in studio Sheila Weinberg with Truth in Accounting, and we are going to talk about those pensions. We'll be right back after this.
You're listening to The Real Story with Jeanne Ives and Amy Jacobson on AM 560. The Answer.
The mainstream media isn't just biased. They're hiding stories from you, deliberately. Restoration News is changing that. With elite researchers and fearless writers, Restoration News is the conservative media force fighting back in the information war for America's future. Download the Restoration News mobile app today or visit restoration-news.com. That's restoration-news.com. Real stories, real truth. It's time you knew what they don't want you to know.
Mike Lindell and the MyPillow employees want to thank you for your great support this past year. They want to make 2026 the best year ever. So to thank you, they are giving you free shipping on your entire order and wholesale pricing. So they are bringing back the mega sale. For example, the classic MyPillows, regularly $49.98, now only $14.98. Turn any mattress into the best mattress ever with the Made in the USA MyPillow My Mattress Topper and save up to $100. Get a set of MyPillow Giza Dream Sheets for as low as $29.98 or the 6-pack towel set for only $34.98. To get the best specials ever, go to MyPillow.com and use promo code LIBERTY or call 800-489-0201 and use promo code LIBERTY. These offers won't last long, so call 800-489-0201 or go to MyPillow.com and use promo code LIBERTY. Order now and your entire order ships absolutely free.
With so much financial uncertainty, are you wondering if your retirement savings will last? The market ups and downs can keep you guessing, especially if you're approaching retirement or considering it. Hi, I'm Edward Jones financial advisor Nolan Webster. If you have more questions than answers about what's next, let's work together to help ensure you're prepared for your journey. After all, retirement isn't the end of the trek, it's a new beginning. Stop by our office in Palatine or call 224-801-6107. That's 224-801-6107. Edward Jones, member SIPC.
AM 560, The Answer.
All right, welcome back. Well, let's turn to something that's really relevant to everybody in Illinois, and it's actually a hidden problem. I think it's hidden because I think not enough attention is paid to it unless you're in the public sector union, and then you pay a lot of attention to it, and that's pensions. But pensions affect all of us because they are an enormous tax burden in the state of Illinois. And you know what? I bit back at Rod Blagojevich, because he was out there dissing, Brandon Johnson and whatever. And oh my gosh, I got to get this tweet up for you guys all to read it to you because, he is, he's got not a leg to stand on when it comes to things. Hang on just a minute.
He's trying to be relevant, Jeannie.
Oh my gosh. No, he's...
Well, there's some things he's been strong on, when it came to COVID lockdowns and fraud in the government. So, and, he's pro-Trump because Trump got him out of prison. He would still be sitting in jail if it wasn't for him.
And his hair is back.
Yes, he started dyeing it. Very good, Sheila Weinberg. He started dyeing his hair again because in prison, you can't use any hair dyes. You can't use Botox. You can't do anything.
Okay, so here's what
self-grooming.
Well, here's what he wrote. He wrote, under Pritzker and Democrat leadership, Illinois has surpassed New York to have the highest combined local and state tax rate in the country. When I was governor, I refused to raise taxes on people. But a few months after I was hijacked from office, the Dems raised the income tax by 66%. And I wrote back, I quoted back, Illinois taxpayers are still paying off the $10 billion in pension bonds you took out, idiot.
He didn't raise taxes then. He deferred taxes. He just issued deferred taxes that we're paying now.
Right. Sheila Weinberg, you're the founder and the head of Truth in Accounting, and you wrote this article May 6th. Illinois Tier 2 pension costly benefit increases supercharge the state's pension crisis, and local governments would be hardest hit. We know what they've got planned. They have planned to to return Tier 2 pensions to Tier 1. What's going on here?
Well, I before we get into the numbers, I just want to reiterate about how your headline is about how the citizens need to be informed, and I believe that the citizens here in Illinois are misinformed. So that's why they don't know about the pensions, is because they're told, hey, we're fully funding the pensions, we're balancing our budget, everything is fine, and then even the legislators, when they just recently voted for Tier 2 to adjust, to enhance benefits for Chicago police and firefighters, even the Republican legislators were not told and did not understand that, this is going to add to the problem. It's going to add another $11 billion to the fund that is already underfunded. I think it's 25%. They have 25 cents for every dollar that they've promised. Where are they going to get that money to pay those benefits? Are they going to cut the benefits? Are they going to raise taxes? They're just talking about, we need to adjust this because there's some Social Security threshold. That's what they started to do in Chicago, and then they piled on. It was like, you're increasing benefits. Well, we'll go ahead and add even more. So they went way and beyond, and the governor's like, no, we're just going to do this little thing. But once the legislators and the unions got involved, they went in. So we're very concerned that it's going to happen in all these local governments. And the state's not providing them with any additional funds because their contributions and their liability could go up. We calculate their accrued liabilities could go up 42% if what happened in Chicago happens to the other governments.
Well, let's just stick with local pensions for right now, because what most people don't understand is how much you are paying into every firefighter, police officer, public works person, how much you're paying in for their pensions.
Yeah, so
it's a lot.
We looked at a few governments around the state. For in Wheaton, for example, every dollar that they pay a firefighter or a police officer, they pay 29 cents into the pension plan. I can't remember which local government it was 50 cents. So for every dollar they're paying 50 cents into the pension plan. And if that's just a massive amount. And if these enhancements go in, they will be contributing even more.
Yeah, well, I think it's so compare that, folks, to your private sector job that you probably have. You're getting a 3% match in a 401k.
Yes.
And possibly, maybe you're getting a little bit more, but they're getting 29 cents on the dollar in their salary going to their retirement.
Yeah.
29 cents you as the taxpayer are paying for their retirement pension, and they're going to retire at age 50 with 20 years in.
Yeah, and that's why we, and the reason that most corporations you're speaking of went to 401ks is because during the 1970s, after Congress realized that private companies were offering people pensions, but they weren't funding them, sounds familiar, they went ahead and passed a law that said corporations have to record these properly and they have to fund these properly. But unfortunately, this law called ERISA, they exempted state and local governments. They're like, oh, well, the state and local governments won't screw their employees. They'll be fine. But 50 years since ERISA passed, we obviously have evidence that, yes, the state and local governments will not act, especially Illinois, will not act responsibly in this pension arena. So that, honestly, I've watched all this for years, and I've given up on states like Illinois fixing things. So we are actually going to Washington, D.C. and encourage them to apply some of these protections for the taxpayers and to the firefighters and teachers. You have to think about these benefits have been promised. They're counting on these. And Illinois has 43 cents for every dollar promised when these people are counting them. So, yeah, it affects these workers in addition to taxpayers.
Okay. Well, in the if you had a private sector pension fund that was at 43%, what would the federal government do?
You couldn't have a private.
You couldn't have it.
You could.
You literally couldn't have it.
What would happen is even before then, they have this ERISA and later legislation. If you get below 65% funded, they make you start increasing your contributions, and they make you restructure your benefit plans. So, for example, if Illinois was under this law right now, these pension enhancements could not happen. These two-tier enhancements could not happen because if you're below 65% funded, you can't add new benefits to those type of plans. So a corporation wouldn't get into this situation. And we, again, you and I are probably, states' rights people, but I think Illinois has proven that they just can't manage these properly.
Sheila Weinberg, is there any state that is worse than Illinois when it comes to the pension problem?
No, Illinois has the lowest funding ratio. And again, this affects the upcoming election. We're talking about numbers, but it affects the upcoming election because Governor Pritzker, I kept on shaking my TV the last election because it was like his campaigns were like, I'm fiscally responsible. I'm fully funding the pensions. I've balanced the budget every year. Well, okay, you've balanced the budget every year you had to borrow $3.2 billion from the Federal Reserve to balance the budget. I wouldn't call that a balanced budget. You don't pay your bills on time. That's not a balanced budget. And they short the pensions. He shorted the pensions contributions $4 to $5 billion every year. So, listen to those campaign ads, but also by hiding these true costs and contributing less into the pensions than the actuaries say he should, that allows him to spend on other programs or not increase your taxes. Well, if to truly balance the budget, he really contributed $4 to $5 billion more into the pensions, he would have to raise taxes, which he would lose votes, or he would have to cut other government services and benefits, and he would lose votes. But the wacko, I call it political math, the way they calculate the budget, they can record loan proceeds as revenues, they can short the pensions, but they're really not balancing the budget. But he comes out in his ads and says he is.
Yeah, it's probably the biggest lie that he tells all day long is that he's increased the credit rating and that he's balanced the budget.
Don't get me started on the credit rating.
Well, I'm getting you started. You've got like about a minute. Tell us what about that credit rating.
The credit rating, all the credit rating is whether the bonds will be paid. And how does Illinois even issue bonds? Because they're in such bad debt. Because Illinois has a law that says the first tax dollar goes to the bonds. So as long as they're collecting tax revenue, they get. And then the way he is increasing the credit rating is he's putting money into these reserves. Well, he's not funding the pensions properly. If he funded the pension properly, he wouldn't have money to put into these reserves. So the credit rating, all it is whether the bonds will be paid. It is not a grade of whether the state is doing their finances properly.
And you do a state and a city, you grade them every single year. Where is the state and the city of Chicago in your ratings?
Illinois is 48th. They get an F compared to their great credit rating.
Oh, wait, who's below us?
New Jersey and Connecticut.
All right, and how about the city of Chicago? Where do they rank?
They're a second, New York City, but if you combine all the taxes and all the taxpayer burden, Chicago is actually the worst. If you include the state plus the city.
All right, there you go. Sheila Weinberg, Truth in Accounting. Thank you so much for joining us on The Real Story.
Thank you for having me.
All right.
Hugh Hewitt sees our education system lacking.
American education has failed in a monumental way to instill basic decency, love of country, civic culture, the ability to disagree, basic American common sense. We're all in this together, and that's been shattered.
The Hugh Hewitt Show. Afternoons at 2, right before Alex Marlowe at 3 on AM 560. The Answer.
Fox News, I'm Gianna Gelosi. President Trump attending a state banquet on his first full day in China.
I want to thank President Xi, my friend, for this magnificent welcome. And it really was a magnificent welcome like none other.
The fine dining coming after bilateral talks with trade and Taiwan on the menu. Fox's Jackie Heinrich.
Readout indicates that President Trump did not budge on the Taiwan issue, and China really had some thoughts about that. The Chinese readout of the meeting warns that Taiwan is the most important issue for U.S.-China relations.
China saying the issue, if handled poorly, could lead to conflict and an extremely dangerous situation. Americans continued spending in April. Retail sales rose 0.5%, up 0.7%, excluding auto sales, and up 4.9% for the year. America's listening to Fox News.
Now, your official weather forecast.
This afternoon will bring mostly sunny skies with a high temperature of 68. Tonight, expect partly cloudy conditions with a chance of a couple of showers late and a low of 52. Tomorrow, there may be a shower in some areas during the morning. Otherwise, it will be partly sunny and breezy with the high reaching 71. I'm meteorologist Jason Caterina on AM 560, The Answer.
Get the latest weather, traffic, and news updates online at 560theanswer.com.
Nothing makes a gathering great like Eggland's Best Eggs. They're just so delicious with better nutrition, too. For us, it's eggs any style, as long as they're the best. Eggland's Best.
Hi, I'm Ken Mariotti, owner of Woodland Windows and Doors, a third-generation family-owned business since 1969. We know you're bombarded by choices when shopping for new windows or doors, so we're inviting you to experience the Woodland difference. For decades, we have been transforming living spaces with Marvin Windows, a fifth-generation family business. Marvin replacement windows have been known to increase the warmth of your cold rooms by 10 degrees. Think about that, 10 degrees warmer. When you welcome Woodland into your home, you will get a product expert to transform your living spaces, full-time, dedicated professional installers that you can trust in your home, along with the best products like Marvin. These are the reasons we're proud of our 5-star reviews and family legacy. No gimmicks, no pressure, and upfront pricing are why Woodland Windows and Doors is your trusted window and door expert in Chicagoland. Visit woodlandwindows.com to book your free in-home expert consultation. That's woodlandwindows.com, or stop by our showroom at the corner of Lake and Geary in Roselle.
Let me ask you something. Does your garage floor look bad? Covered in salt, cracked, or stained from the winter's brutal blast? Well, I've got a fix for you so you can start enjoying your garage this spring. Contact my good friends at Level 10 Coatings. Level 10 brought my garage floor from dirty and gross to showroom, shiny new in just one day. Level 10 Coatings can do the same for you. A quick and easy fix, permanent durable solution. Guaranteed to never chip or peel. Get it done now so you can enjoy your garage this spring and summer. Schedule your free quote today and mention me, Amy, for $500 off. Visit level10coatings.com. That's level, the number 10, coatings.com. Level10coatings.com or call 855-510-2628. Again, that's 855-510-2628. Level 10 Coatings, your premier concrete coating experts.
Why would you take your precious metal collections to some fly-by-night roadshow that rolls into town once a year? The only thing you need to do is follow the road to Fox Valley Coins and show your gold or silver to the team. Gold is at an all-time historical high, so don't keep sitting on your coin hoards or old jewelry that you've been saving to sell when the time is right. The time is right now. Prices have never been better on most collector and gold coins. Fox Valley Coins in Naperville is trying to keep up with demand. So they're paying the most ever on not only most gold coins in bars, but also those old coin collections. You might have scarce dates or higher grade coins, so take advantage of the record high market price and the demand now. Whether you're buying or selling, or just want to find out values, trust the team at Fox Valley Coins. Fox Valley Coins is on Route 59, just one light north of I-88 at the Naperville-Warrenville border. Family-owned integrity since 1981.
Lots of places can expose you to identity theft, but that's why LifeLock monitors hundreds of millions of data points a second for threats to your identity, which is way more than anyone can do on their own. If they find anything suspicious, like new loans or changes in your financial accounts, they'll alert you right away, all through text, phone, email, or the LifeLock app. Get the alerts that can make all the difference. Save up to 40% off your first year with the promo code BECK. LifeLock.com, 800-LifeLock, 1-800-LifeLock, or LifeLock.com. Use the promo code BECK at LifeLock.com.
Here he comes. Surprise! There's an avocado shortage! Now half your food truck menu is costing more than it's making you! Also, you're out of napkins!
Those aren't cheap! Progressive knows small business owners usually don't like surprises because they cost you money. But a good surprise? Saving 13% on commercial auto insurance when you pay in full.
Also, an ice cream truck stole your parking spot! Looks like you're in a turf war!
Surprise yourself. See if you can save in as little as 8 minutes at ProgressiveCommercial.com. Progressive Casualty Insurance Company and Affiliates. Discounts not available in all states or situations.
It's Reveille. The U.S. Supreme Court decision in Louisiana v. Calais affirmed that legislative districts cannot be drawn primarily on the basis of race. In response to that ruling, I have filed a federal lawsuit against Governor J.B. Pritzker of the Illinois State Board of Elections and its executive director for violating the U.S. Constitution through Illinois' race-based legislative mapping process. I'm challenging the explicit use of race as a primary factor in drawing legislative boundaries in Illinois, and the case couldn't be clearer. Illinois law says legislative districts shall be drawn to create crossover, coalition, and influence districts, and it then defines those districts specifically using race as a criteria. As an example, the statute literally says coalition district means a district where more than one group of racial minorities may form a coalition to elect the candidate of the coalition's choice. Illinois Democrats are obsessed with providing race-based preferential treatment wherever possible, so it's likely they will put up a fight. Already, Pritzker has said the SCOTUS decision guts the Voting Rights Act, and he called the decision voter suppression that will silence Black and brown voters. Lauren Underwood, the Black congresswoman representing Illinois' 14th congressional district, called the decision the latest Republican assault on Black voters. But neither politician has a leg to stand on. Pritzker promised an independent commission to draw the maps and then signed a map drawn by only Democrats that received an F rating for its unfairness. Underwood has had no problem getting elected and reelected in a district that is 63% white and only 9% Black. Meanwhile, Illinois has been run on racial politics for decades, and yet Chicago is one of the most segregated cities in America. Explain that. They can't. I'm Jeannie Ives. Listen to The Real Story Monday through Friday at 11 a.m. and sign up for my newsletter at breakthrough-ideas.com.
This hourly segment brought to you by Unleash Your Wealth with Raj Shah and Rick Borick this Saturday at 7 a.m. and 2 p.m. Learn more at scwealthadvisors.com.
AM 560, The Answer.
All right, welcome back. Thanks for joining us on The Real Story. Amy.
Starting again, hantavirus lockdowns, quarantines. Of course, this all happened with the cruise ship that went from Venezuela to Europe. 2 Venezuelans were apparently bird watching in some dump and stepped in some rodent urine and feces, and then that spread on the ship. It's the Andes strain of the hantavirus. But here's the problem. We currently have 18 Americans that are being quarantined. And there's some new rules, Jeannie. The CDC official, Brandon Jackson, has a new phrase. It's 6 feet apart for 15 minutes, that should be the cure. Here he is.
We're talking about exposure specifically to bodily fluids, and then that could include things like saliva. So if you're sharing eating utensils, kissing, touching, those type of things. It can also mean just being really, really close to that person for a fairly long period of time. So we're calling that 6 feet for at least a cumulative number of 15 minutes.
6 feet for 15 minutes. And
It's very scientific. It's very scientific. 6 feet, 15 minutes.
You know what? Don't even look at me, okay? So Joshua Allen, he's at Harvard School of Public Health. He was talking about how this strain is transmitted, because this is sounding a lot like COVID, and it's kind of pissing me off because here at The Real Story, we want to tell you the real story, but you have to hear from the left first before you can determine and make an adult decision about your life.
In those prior outbreaks that happened on land, it didn't require prolonged close contact. In fact, one person passed it to another person at a birthday party simply by passing by and saying hello. That's not prolonged contact. Other people that transmitted in that same outbreak in Argentina, they were explicit. The author said no close contact. So I think the messaging continues to be incomplete. It's half correct. And this is really important because we need to tell people, including those in quarantine, that it is not just prolonged close contact. You have to be careful of these other ways it's spreading, because it's very clear we are seeing spread that doesn't require prolonged or long duration contact and doesn't require close physical contact.
Joining us now to help get the real story on this is Dr. Ron Elfaben. He's an emergency room physician in Maryland, well known because he fought back against COVID, and we'll get into that. But we want to start with what should we be afraid of and what should we not fear at this point in time with the hantavirus?
Well, first of all, thanks for having me. It's pronounced Delphinbind.
Okay, sorry.
But thanks for having me on. And I don't think anybody should be afraid of anything. I mean, I think your chances of being exposed and or catching the Andes strain of hantavirus if you live in the United States of America is pretty close to zero. There is an endemic version of a hantavirus. It's a cousin of the Andes strain that is endemic to the southwest of the United States, and there's about 30 cases annually. And in fact, Gene Hackman's wife, the actor Gene Hackman, his wife passed away from the hantavirus. She had hantavirus, but it's incredibly rare. And this strain is unique because it is spread by contact, by person-to-person contact, unlike the endemic strain in the United States and every other strain of hantavirus, which is spread only through direct exposure to rat urine and rat feces. And that doesn't mean you have to touch it, but if you're just sweeping up or something, just the airborne, it aerosolizes the particles and you can get away. But again, I think that this is being, blown out of proportion by the left because it's, yes, it's something that we should be concerned about and we should take seriously, and the CDC should be on it, which they are, the WHO, which I don't trust, but they're involved. But, I think we need to put this into perspective, right? I mean, your chance of catching this is infinitesimally small, so I don't think anybody out there listening to this needs to be overly concerned about anything. And your chance of catching this hasn't changed in the last weeks than it did, nothing's changed in the last month. So,
well, COVID's been around. Sorry for interrupting. COVID's, was fairly new, I guess, but the hantavirus has been around for 113 years that we've known about?
Oh, yeah, I mean, it's probably longer. I mean, it's not a novel virus. It's exactly to your point. It's exactly right. It's been around a long time. The Andes strain has been around a long time. It has popped up periodically. That the clip from that gentleman who was talking about the birthday party, that was the last outbreak. It was in a town in Venezuela, or Argentina, excuse me, in 2018. And I think there was something like 35 people were infected with it, and 11 people ended up unfortunately dying from it. But, that's what happens. These viruses, unfortunately, people will venture into areas where the virus is endemic. They get in contact with it. We live in a globalized society, so that's just what happens. And then somebody will spread it. But the natural history of these things are that it pops up, it spreads for a little bit, and then it dies out. And that's what we expect to happen with this one as well.
So what are we doing here? I mean, seeing these images of people in Tyvek suits and hazmat gear taking people in gurneys that are enclosed, and why are they doing this? I mean, it stirs up. It's like we're getting PTSD.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, I mean, it is an infectious disease, and it is a scary one, and it has a 40 mortality rate, so nobody wants to touch it. But look, I mean, think about it, right? Since 2001, we've had anthrax, we've had MERS, the Middle Eastern respiratory syndrome, we've had SARS-CoV-1, SARS-CoV-2, we've had Ebola, monkeypox, which is the virus, quote-unquote virus that pops up every year to years that they try to scare the crap out of us about, and nothing comes from one. That's suggesting that this isn't a scary virus. It is. It will kill you and it's dangerous. But your chances as an American of catching this is so small that you shouldn't be overly concerned about it. And they should stop showing those images because they're just scaring people. That's all they're doing is scaring people.
Isn't it the deal that like you're more likely to get killed by a lightning strike than to be killed by the hantavirus? I mean, it's just almost impossible, right?
The most dangerous thing people do on a daily basis, and they do it freely, and they do it blindly, is getting in their car and driving.
Yes.
People do it, and you look across to half the people are putting on makeup or they're drinking a coffee. They're not paying attention. That is way more dangerous than the risk of you catching this virus. Just to put that into perspective for your listeners, like you are way more likely to get killed driving your car than you are ever to get from the hospital. Like, I think the media is just trying to scare people on top of it. Okay. There's an old saying, right? You fool me twice, shame on.
We're having a hard time. You're breaking up quite a bit. I don't know if you've moved positions or not, or we should try and get you back. Or
can you hear us now?
Yeah, can you hear me? I'm sorry, I'm in the car.
Yeah. You're just breaking up a bit. So,
well, I wanted people to know about your story because you sound fine right now, but your story for COVID because you're under investigation by the federal government, right?
Well, yeah, not really. Can you guys hear me okay?
Yeah.
Better.
Okay. All right. I'm sorry. I'm driving, so this wasn't ideal time. But so I was very active during COVID, and I was using alternative treatments, specifically monoclonal antibodies, which represented the cure for COVID. And they were the most efficacious thing there was to help people. And I became the largest supplier of it in the state of Maryland. And in fact, the entire mid-Atlantic region, Maryland, Delaware, Virginia, West Virginia, Pennsylvania. And the federal government actually opened up a site. They couldn't do it, so they asked me to do it. Then the Biden administration criticized these wonderful miracle drugs, and then they cut the whole program off completely. And I went on Fox News and Newsmax and a bunch of other programs, and I said that this is crazy, they're going to kill people. And that's what happened. The states like Florida, the red states specifically that got cut off, were having major outbreaks, and absolutely people died because of that. It's unconscionable what they did. And then 4 months later, totally out of the blue, they indicted me on healthcare fraud charges, which didn't make any sense. There was no fraud. These were real patients that were seen at my clinics by real people. In fact, it was so egregious that the chief judge of the state of Maryland, who was the judge adjudicating my case, wrote a 93-page opinion completely destroying the government's case, acquitting me of all charges. And in the case that he said if they had choose to appeal it, they would give me a new trial. Well, as the Biden administration was packing up their to leave because Trump just got elected, they decided to appeal it. So now I'm facing a new trial, and I'm trying to get in touch with someone in the Trump administration who can help make this go away because it's already been adjudicated. It's pure political nonsense. And it's weaponization of the federal government against the citizen who is just trying to do the right thing and save people's lives.
Well, doctor, I'm going to try and help you out in that effort. And so I've got your phone number and I've got who you are. And so I'll see if I can make a connection for you because that is egregious.
Thank you. And if people could go to my website, it's www.dropthecase.com. All the information is there. You can reach out to me. I'm happy to answer questions. It's terrible. And I got to say, I think they're trying to pull the same stunts again with this new thing. I think everybody should be careful. It's a scary virus, but it's not the end of the world. And again, you are way more likely to get killed driving in your car on a daily basis than you are from hantavirus. And I think that's an important point.
Yeah, but you got to hear this. So we have a possible case of hantavirus in a county, I think it's Winnebago County, on a farm. And everyone on the news on Tuesday night blew this out of the water. Every single local TV station, like, hantavirus hits Illinois. First of all, it's not the Andes strain. Secondly, this guy had nothing to do with the cruise ship. It's completely different. And now the Illinois Department of Public Health is saying it's a potential. They don't know. So people need to be careful because the media's got to try and brainwash them. We have an election coming up. This is what they did last time. Scare people, lock them in their homes, take away their church, their education, their community, their lives in order to promote a political response. Because I'm telling you, there are so many people in Chicago right now that are wearing masks all over again because they're scared of the hantavirus. And the local media is perpetuating this.
It's crazy. I mean, as a doctor, I can't tell you how many people I had to watch die because their family members couldn't come see them. It was like heartbreaking, absolutely disgusting and heartbreaking because of these stupid draconian rules. I couldn't let them hold their family member's hand while they were passing away. Like the worst possible thing I could ever imagine I had to be a part of. It was like the most disgusting thing that, I'm embarrassed to say that I was a part of it, but I mean, I was doing my job. But I'm very happy to say that with this, so people should know that monoclonal antibodies, like we're
okay.
50 years.
Sir, hey, doctor, you're breaking up again. Could you just give us your website one more time? And we appreciate you coming on about this topic.
Sure. I'm sorry. It's dropthecase.com.
Dropthecase.com. Got it. All right.
Thank you so much. We're going to let you go. But Jeannie, I'm not going to let you or the listeners go because this is my favorite. When I saw these Tyvek suits again and masks and hazmat suits, it reminded me, do you ever remember the COVID horse race?
No.
Oh, this is good. This is worth a replay.
And they're off. Out of the gate, it's coronavirus, followed closely behind by Wuhan-style lockdown. On the outside, it's global pandemic working hard against Flatten the Curve. Social distancing got off to a slow start, but he's now neck and neck with Flatten the Curve. On the inside, it's just a little flu, followed by Trust the Experts. As they pass the quarter pole, 18 months vaccine is working hard to get past Plaquenil. Dr. Fauci is 3 lengths back of the leaders. Stimulus plan is trying to squeeze by PPE as they enter the backstretch, but out on the outside, here comes economic shutdown. Open by Easter, gets bumped a little bit by Dr. Fauci. Flatten the Curve and economic shutdown are battling it out as they head past the half-mile pole. Distance learning stumbled out of the gate, and it looks like he won't be able to get back into it. Not his day today, folks. They are moving at a brisk pace and all clustered together except for my bank account, which is way back of the pack. He might be injured. They might have to pull him up. Toilet paper is nowhere to be seen. He's lost in the pack. As they head into the far turn, it's social distancing still in the lead, but Daily Briefing is lurking 1.5 lengths back. It's a tremendous race, folks. I've never seen anything like it. And now, Cure Worse Than the Disease is starting to make his move. As they enter the top of the stretch, cabin fever is charging hard, but social distancing is holding him off. Economic shutdown is still looking strong, and he's nose to nose with Cure Worse Than the Disease. And on the inside, here comes Dr. Fauci, and down the stretch they come. It's social distancing and economic shutdown now neck and neck. I don't believe it. Dr. Fauci is trying to keep pace, and with 1 furlong to go, it's economic shutdown, social distancing, and Dr. Fauci. And as they come to the wire, it's... oh my God, it's no one knows by a head. Oh, an incredible race, folks. 11,
all right,
7,
Amy,
12,
that's longer than the actual Kentucky Derby race, but thank you so much. All right, we're going to be right back because I got a lot more to talk about.
Don't believe the official narrative? You've got the real story on AM 560, The Answer.
Did you know most remodeling mishaps start before construction even begins? Here's something else you should know. At Forever Remodeling, we do things differently. Every kitchen, bathroom, and basement project starts with smart planning, detailed 3D designs, a clear scope of work, and accurate pricing, all sorted out before you get started. No surprises, no stress, just beautiful results. Done right the first time. Visit foreverremodeling.com. That's the number 4, EVER, remodeling.com. And schedule your free in-home consultation today.
Are you prepared for the Illinois estate tax? If your estate is worth over $4 million, your heirs could face a tax bill of up to 16% when you pass. Financial advisor Scott Tucker and the team at Scott Tucker Solutions can show you ways to potentially reduce or even eliminate that burden. One strategy is to start gifting assets during your lifetime to lower the taxable value of your estate. Another option is setting up irrevocable trusts, which can shield wealth from estate taxes. Charitable donations and life insurance policies can also be smart tools to offset tax liabilities. Call Scott Tucker and the Scott Tucker Solutions team now, 847-474-3888, or go to 560retirement.com. That's 847-474-3888, or go to 560retirement.com. Investment advisory services made available through AE Wealth Management, LLC, a registered investment advisor. Firm may not give tax advice.
I'm alpine skier Michaela Schifrin. I've won the most World Cup ski races in history. But what does success mean to me? Success means discipline. It's teamwork. It's the drive and passion inside of us, and it's why Stifel is one of the fastest growing global wealth management firms in the country. If you're looking for success, surround yourself with the people who will get you there. If you're an advisor or investor, choose Stifel, where success meets success.
Stifel Nicholas and Company Incorporated, member SIPC and NYSE.
Past performance is no indication of future results. Investing involves risk. Consult a financial advisor before making any investment decisions.
AM 560, The Answer.
All right, welcome back. Got a lot to cover still. I wanted to cover this bill specifically. It was in the Labor, not Commerce Committee of the House yesterday. It did pass, of course, on a partisan line. But this is the bill that we brought to you before. It is the Construction Site Temporary Restroom Facility Act. And it requires that if you have
that one.
I know.
That's my favorite.
I bet. If you have 10 or more workers of any gender at the work site, there's got to be a separate toilet facility if at least one person is a woman. And it's both about lactation and menstruation. And so this is Bradley Fritz. He's a Republican. Here he is peppering some questions to one of the witnesses. She's the woman construction worker from Chicago. Take a listen.
So I guess my question is, you said the lactation room has to be provided upon request, but the restroom has to be provided either way?
Yes. So the restrooms are for women and people who lactate.
Women and people who lactate.
If you're on a work site with 10 or more individuals working, and that's a permanent work site that's sort of defined as, you're on that site for more than 5 days, I believe is what we agreed to in the amendment. The toilet, yes. Oh, I'm sorry. Yes. Thank you, Representative. Yes, so women and people who menstruate.
Women and people who menstruate.
As long as they're available, because if a woman is there, then a woman needs a woman's toilet. Yes.
So obviously this would apply to the entire state of Illinois. My district may not be as diverse as different parts of the state of Illinois. If we have 10 or more employees and they all happen to be male, there's nothing.
Then you don't need a woman has to be present on a woman or someone who menstruates that you are aware of has to be present on the work site to require.
Okay.
Yes, you don't need to provide a women's toilet if there's no woman there. Yeah.
Okay. So because of the gender neutral language of this bill, could anybody make the request for the accommodation and it would have to be provided regardless of gender?
Yeah, I mean, if somebody is requesting to you or letting you know that they need menstrual support, then yes, you need to accommodate that.
Okay.
I would, from our experience on construction sites, somebody probably would not out themselves as needing menstrual support despite presenting as a male, unless they really needed it.
Okay, so Brad Hallbrook had enough of this. He said this.
Representative or leader, to your witness, or maybe to yourself, I heard in the Q&A here, this was for women or people who menstruate. Can you help us understand how that's different, or who people are that menstruate, who that is?
People who do not identify as women, but who also menstruate. So it could be.
I mean, this is the height of wokeness. This bill was everything that's wrong with the state of Illinois: woke, stupid, another mandate on business. And on top of it, guess what? Guess who was there to advocate for it? A menstrual equity activist. That's actually a position. Amy?
That's going to be my next job.
I think so. Menstrual equity activist. This is insanity. We'll have more about this and other things tomorrow. Thanks for joining us. God bless you and God bless America.
Hello?
Sir,
Sir, this is Officer Peterson. There's been a string of break-ins in the area, and your office, it was hit.
Hit? What do you mean?